Alrighty, hopefully this isn't too bad. I basically just wanted to show you how things have been going, and perhaps I'm not even going to be using my homemade counters and just going with the original ones. The problem is that I think I've mentioned before, I'm just using an image from BGG and they're not the greatest resolution, and I just can't play around enough replacing some of the colors, especially for the Russian troops, you'll see in a minute, to provide enough contrast without affecting the other colors, essentially. So, because I don't have I mean, they're, like I said, it's a they're pretty low resolution images. But anyways, so here's my little version, I guess, of the game. It's just like I said, this is all concept stuff of how I would try to perhaps present it out, but certainly not like using invisible tape or whatnot. But I think hopefully we'll get the idea. But maybe you can see what I mean by it's maybe perhaps not so bad. You can see what I mean by it's just because of the size, of the counters. They're pretty darn tiny. But you can see the Russians there, the green is pretty small. I mean, the contrast is really bad between, the black and that really dark green. But anyways, maybe it's not, the end of the world. We'll see. But like I said, I think I showed the maps before. They go really well with that surgical tape, the nice stretchy tape. Let's see if I'll bring it back a bit. And maybe I should have extended... no, I'll just bring it out a bit. I think like that. Yeah, I'll do that. But you can see, it works out really nice. I got a nice... no overlap, no distortions. I was able to line them up nicely. There's no sticky bits. They're able to bend back and forth quite nice. I like this presentation, especially being able to use, maybe I could, add a CRT here in the terrain effects chart and like little errata or whatever, just little bits off on the thing. I think would be a good idea. I like looking at this thing as the whole format. I'm actually looking at something else, but a copy of the rules, and then to place out the counters and whatnot, and then another, oh, that's right, okay, this is, like I said, where's this third copy coming from? Oh, no, I think this one is a properly formatted one, yeah. The margins, I made a bit smaller because I was getting a tiny bit of cropping. Well, it's lovely, you get the idea. Anyways, I've almost finished. I was going to give this to the guy from Can Games, not this one, the giant version. But I screwed up the map at the end. You're going to see. What a bummer. So this is a giant version, so instead of a 4-panel map, it's a 9-panel map, and the hexes are monstrously bigger, which is great. And you can see here, and I kind of used what Meandering Mike did when he sent me his copy of World War One. And I just went this way because after I cut the counters out for people and whatnot, I was like, okay, this is kind of some way I would send them off. You can still get them out, but you can see with this size, and I really tried as hard as I can to start fiddling with the brightness and the contrast and whatnot, and it did as much as I could. So this is what I would conceptually give to someone if I was going to send them off a copy. Like, I can't wait to make it's going to be fun to do Harold Bosma's copy. I'm going to make sure he gets everything's nice, because I'm already learning certain things. So I've got that, and then I had, off to the side here. So that was really about it here, just like an extra counter sheet if the person ever wanted to make their own. Yeah, see, it's nice properly formatted here. I just brought the page in a little bit, but 2 copies of the rules. I thought that would be always a good thing to do if I was going to be producing. Yeah, of course it's going to cost a fortune for production purposes, but I'd like to do that. Then I did a blow up of the CRT and some reminders sheet on really thick 110-pound bond, and then on the back I blew up the turn record phase and whatnot for each player. Got those 2, but like I said, I'd like to make sure that there's a proper terrain effects chart, whatnot. Now you're going to see where I like the concept, but darn it, I was so close and then I screwed it up. Just going to learn. Which yet again, but you can see what happened. I just didn't line up the panels properly, and there was a little bit of exposure of the tape, and it grabbed the other, when I folded them. But it folds pretty nicely, as you can see. Pretty darn happy with the effect. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm quite robust. So there's a 9-panel map. It's pretty darn big. But if I just lined them up a little bit better, so close. But anyways, like I said, it did bother me. I was like, oh, damn it. But such is life. I'll go and make, this is a lot better than screwing up the counters. I can tell you that. This is a lot more the thing involved. But anyways, that's it. I'm really darn happy. This seems like a half decent way of doing it. And I'll cost it out later and find out how much this costs to produce. All right, hope you're having fun. See you later.